Hi, ladies. I'm thinking about you all this morning. I'm doing this on a Tuesday morning and just longing for the time when we can all be together in the same room again. I really, really miss that. Just not only the women at my table, but just the sound in the room of everyone fellowshipping together and being tuned into each other's lives in a physical, tangible way. I miss that. So I had an urge to put on some makeup and look like a human for this, but I decided that would be disingenuous because truly the days that I have looked that way have been few and far between during this thing. And I'm worried that if I try to put normal pants on again, that they won't fit. I feel pretty confident that's the case because I have been stress eating. The struggle is real. Anyway, I wanted to share something with you, and that is, if you are feeling like you don't have what it takes, or you weren't where you thought you were spiritually, you are not alone. And that's coming from someone who's been a Christian, for almost 50 years. This has really brought me to my knees in a way that was quite surprising. I kind of always fancied myself coming through as a warrior if the zombie apocalypse ever happened. And I've kind of figured out that's not me. I'm more of the one curled up in a ball in the corner crying. So if that's you too, then I'm right with you. So it's been a struggle each day to really discipline myself to stay connected to God, to not be angry and frustrated with what the situation that's going on, and asking myself why we're going through this. But I have forced myself, not every day, but most days, to come and talk to my Father God and to be in His Word. And as I have learned in the past, that never comes back void. There's always a way that God speaks to this moment, even in something that was written thousands of years ago. It's really miraculous how that happens. So for me, I really have drawn upon Matthew 14, which was just kind of the next chapter in my reading plan, but it just came at the right time during this period. And what happens in Matthew 14 is first, there's the feeding of the 5,000. So it's just this amazing expression of God's provision on a grand scale for many, many people with not very many resources, that God can take those kinds of situations and make something happen that none of us can anticipate. And when right after that happens, he and the disciples leave the area to kind of get a break from all the people that they've been around, because he's been teaching for several days at that point. And the disciples go out on a boat into the ocean, and there's a terrible storm, and they're very afraid. And they look out and they see Jesus walking towards them across the water, walking on the water. And Peter, who's always very enthusiastic and sometimes runs out of steam right when he needs it, he calls out to Jesus and says that he wants to walk across the water to meet him. And so Jesus says, go ahead, come on out. And so Peter starts walking, and he's walking on the water towards Jesus. And then he gets distracted by the waves and what's going on around him. He takes his eyes off Jesus and immediately falls into the ocean, to the point where Jesus has to come fish him out, and then kind of calls him out for his lack of faith. And so that was really affirming to me that, number one, God is our Father who loves us. And even in our childlikeness, He still loves us. And that even Peter, who had such a tangible example of God's provision, can get distracted and forget what's true about God. So I just encourage each of you today to remember who our God is and know that He has our backs in this, and that He is going to provide for us. And I look forward to the day when we can be together again. Love you all.